wouldn't say my pilgrimage is complete, but this really is a special part of it. This is Anzac Cove, this is the beach, looking out exactly where the guys came in on that morning. Well, we've made it to the shores of Gallipoli, and before we go any further with this story, I think there's a few things I need to confess. First of all, there's no camera crew. Now, you might have worked that out by now, but it's just me, one camera, one tripod, a couple of really bad feet and a few water bottles. And they say that Gallipoli is a harsh environment. Well, I can bear testimony to that. It is a hard environment. So I know my look isn't that good at the best of times. You'll have to forgive me for that. And so it's well worth it though, walking up and down the valleys, falling through bushes and just having a look at the different points of interest. So the rest of this program is just that, looking at different points of interest, different stories and locations of the Anzac position on Gallipoli. First, let's look at the day of the landing. The Anzac's objective was the high ground to the top right of the map, and there were 3 ridges that led from the beach to this position, forming 2 large valleys between them. Now, the intended landing site was a mile to the south, the idea being they could make their way up the 2nd and 3rd ridge to the objective. So when they were landed at Anzac Cove and North Beach, they immediately began to climb what was actually the 1st ridge and found themselves on top of a plateau that was later named Pluggy's Plateau, and then the trouble started. From up here on the 2nd ridge, as you look down into the area where the Anzacs landed, and where we've seen all the pictures and descriptions of them immediately leaving the beach and climbing a rise, it's up to a place called Pluggy's Plateau. That's the back of that skyline there. They climbed and climbed and climbed, raced up and got to this plateau expecting it was the way to the high ground. But then it just dropped off. It's just like a great big chunk's been taken out of the hill, and there it continues towards the high ground. And it was almost impossible. It's only a couple of feet wide at the top of it. Now, some men in their eagerness actually began to run across it. They made their way down to it and ran across this, of course only to be picked off by snipers because they had nowhere to go. And of course, forming the backdrop is the Sphinx over the back there. So the only way the guys could make the high ground off to the right was to actually come down from Pluggy's Plateau, back down into the valley and across either up the valley, this direction, or directly up towards where I'm standing now on the 2nd ridge. This is Shrapnel Valley where it comes in off Brighton Beach. You come back up here, of course there's Pluggy's Plateau, and there's the Razorback, and over the back of that the Sphinx. However, what is so deceiving about this country and why it was just understandable why people were getting lost is because between here and the Razorback there's actually a hill, a ridge. And the only way you might find that out, if I zoom, there you can see there the top of the ridge. And down behind this ridge you would have had protection from the snipers who came shooting down the whole length of the valley.